Hey guys, I'm going to tell you a story of rags to riches today, of someone in our palmistry community who started out life in poverty, built a multi-million-dollar empire, lost it all, and who, based off his hands, I think is going to get it all back again. But this isn't just a story of having lots of money and then losing it all or going vice versa. It's actually a spiritual teaching in this whole palmistry lesson. Now, I want to teach you guys about Sadeh Sati, which in Indian astrology is a term that scares the bejesus out of a lot of people. Sadeh Sati is a term which represents a transit of Saturn over the natal moon in your birth chart. And everyone goes through this. It lasts for about 7.5 years out of every 30 years. But we're going to track Sadeh Sati in this person's hands without astrology. So if you're into astrology, you can use this lesson. If you're into palmistry, you can find essentially what is the lowest point in someone's life. So let's have a look at this guy's life. And this person was born in 1943, so at the time this picture was taken, this person was actually 74 years old. And what I want you to have a look at is the Saturn line that runs down the middle of the hand. Now remember, we're looking at Sadeh Sati, so that's got something to do with Saturn. And in astrology, Saturn's considered a bad planet. It's the planet for struggle and hard work. But in palmistry, we look at Saturn as a good planet. Saturn gives you wealth, it gives you rewards. And if you think of it karmically, it's all the struggle and hard work you do that actually gives you your reward. So even though astrology and palmistry is saying two different things, it's still actually the same thing. So we want to have a look at any deviations on this line as it runs up the hand. And we can see this first deviation over here at around about the age of 14. Now, actually, let me just step back a little bit and teach you guys how to time this line. So what we do is we have a look at where the head line intersects this Saturn line, and we mark that at the age of 35. So the halfway point between the start of this line and that point there, that's the age of 17. And we can subdivide it accordingly. And if we sort of work upwards, then where this line intersects the heart line, that's the age of 56, and the halfway point there is at about 45. Then that's the gap, or that's the space that we can use to add increments of 10 years moving upwards. But coming back to the point I was making before, over here at around about the age of 14, we can see this line starting to deviate and change. That's a bad sign. That means this energy of Saturn isn't working very well. This person is going to struggle in their life at that point. So what happened at this age was this person actually contracted polio. He had a lot of trouble walking. In fact, the doctors would tell him he'd never walk again. And as a result of that, they even pulled him out of school. But when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. And this person, not only through self-determination, taught himself to walk again, he also educated himself at home. He actually learned how to read and write 7 different languages, and to such a degree that he actually became an engineer. As he developed into an adult and started his professional career, he started up his own business in engineering. He was creating plastic molds. And that business went gangbusters. At one point, he was turning over tens of millions of euros every year. Just because what he did was very specialized and there was hardly anyone else in his industry that could do what he could do. But remember we were talking about Sadeh Sati, how it happens every 30 years? Well, if the low point in his life was at the age of 14, if we add 30 years onto that, that becomes the age of 44 or 45. And we can see another deviation in his Saturn line at about that age. And what happened to him at that point was he went through a lot of business hardships. Essentially, he almost lost everything he had, but he was able to hold the whole thing together. It's a very difficult time in his life. But just as last time, after the recovery from the age of 14, his business started to recover. And he did so well, in fact, that you can see this flag symbol hanging off the end of his Saturn line here. The flag, that's a sign of success and recognition. So people who win awards, they get a flag symbol. This person actually received an award from the president or prime minister of his country. He was operating at that elite level. But as I said, Sadeh Sati comes back every 30 years. So if we add 30 years to the age of 44, we get 74, which is the age this person is at when he came to see me. And what happened to this guy, unfortunately, is that some of his employees stole all his intellectual property. They went off to start up their own company. He was effectively left destitute and without money at all because they took his clients with them. In addition to that, to make a bad situation even worse, his wife just passed away. So he's living by himself, he's ran out of money, and he's just starting to rebuild his life again. And as per palmistry, because of all these other auspicious symbols on his hands, I think he's actually going to get back on top of the world once again through his engineering abilities. And that's the lesson I want to leave you guys over here. If you want to find Saraswati on someone's hand using only palmistry and without having like astrology software or anything, what you need to do is have a look at the points on a Saturn line. See where they break and add 30 years onto that. See, does it break or does it splinter or deviate there? Then add another 30 years onto that. For most people, if they live to about 80 years of age, they'll go through Saraswati 2 or 3 times. So this is going to be a recurring theme for most people. And the biggest spiritual takeaway from all of this is because whenever life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. I know it's a cliche, but it's true. This person who was told he'd never be able to walk again taught himself to walk again. And when he wasn't able to go to school, he taught himself 7 languages that would allow his business to flourish throughout the world. You have to work hard. That's what Saturn represents. It gives you struggles, but through your struggles and hard work, you achieve success like this person did. Saraswati is going to happen to everyone. Everyone will go through a low point in their life, but it's how you react to that low point that will determine the success you achieve on the other side of it. Think about that, guys. Thanks a lot.